It's Wednesday, the 21st of July, 2021, and welcome to another Timeware Community Podcast. Things are a little bit different today. With me, I have Mike Coo and the mighty Dave Webb. That was a big yawn, Dave. How's it going? Morning, everybody.
Morning.
It's a podcast, Dave. It helps if you actually talk.
No.
You can't just nod. You can't just nod. Okay, today's podcast is about timeware software and GDPR. And I thought what we could do, rather than just asking Mike about these features, we could call in the resident timeware implementation specialist, the person that pretty much everybody knows. All the major customers have had the pleasure of working with Dave at some point. So GDPR, when did we introduce the GDPR feature? Either of you know? Mike, do you?
I think it was around 19.
19. Okay. So when does this crop up? Does this would this? Let's talk about a new install, which is your specialty, isn't it, Dave? What you talk to the customer. Just explain to everybody how you cover the GDPR.
Yeah. So I would mention the fact that the system is capable of being GDPR compliant with their employee data. So they would need to have an employment record for all employees. So that can be just a simple employment record where it just says they're employed by the company from this date, or they could have their job specification put against the employment record.
Yeah.
And then obviously then I would then speak to them about how long would they, after somebody has left the company, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the GDPR. Is when somebody leaves the company's still holding data on that employee.
Okay.
So I'd ask the company whether they have a GDPR policy, and if they have, then we'll go through the GDPR policy and see what parts of the GDPR policy would affect timeware.
Yeah.
So, they might say, okay, once somebody leaves the company, our GDPR policy is that we will remove the fingerprints the very next day.
Yeah.
And I would put that into our GDPR policy within timeware.
Yeah.
So the person leaves the very next day. It would give the opportunity for the HR person, the person who's running the system, who's looking after the GDPR, to be able to as a reminder on the to-do list. Then they would be able to remove the person's biometric data, for example.
Sure.
Yeah. And then the GDPR would, and then it could then say, okay, you've also got future absences in the system for this particular person, so you can have some future holidays. Then again, it's a GDPR bit of a breach there because you don't really need to know that data.
Okay.
So then again, it will then give you the opportunity for the customer to remove it.
But just jump in. There's a series of sort of points to cover then when you discuss.
So it'll be based around the customer's current GDPR policy. Now, if the customer hasn't really got a GDPR policy, then I would explain to them
what the defaults are.
What the defaults are within timeware. And then after we've removed the immediate data, so somebody leaving, they've got holidays in the future, any biometric data has been removed, then basically it'll just lay dormant then for, say, for example, 5 years. Then after 5 years, they may say, okay, after 5 years, we want to remove the employee's complete data.
Yeah, so some data would be removed immediately. I guess the biometric data, if it was a CNA system, there's no reason to keep that.
No.
But they're say the absenteeism records, attendance records, they'd be kept for a number of years.
They would be kept for a number of years, depending on what the customer requires.
And these are really a series of scripts, aren't they? It's one
big script which has got all these defaults in there, and then so that kind of runs, and then there's a maintenance script. So once the user has made a decision whether they want to delete fingerprints or they want to delete absences, then it doesn't do it straight away. What it will do is it will wait till midnight or whenever time that you've set the GDPR maintenance to run, and then at midnight or quarter to midnight, whatever you've done, it will then carry out those functions of deleting either the absence or the biometric or whatever.
Okay. Can you remember the points that are covered on the GDPR? Either of you, have you got the?
Yeah, it's going to be it's absentee. It's mainly absenteeism, biometric data, and personnel data. But the personnel data is kind of kept for as long as you're keeping the attendance records, really. So sorry. So there's going to be
biometric goes first, doesn't it?
Biometric goes first, and any future absences will go first. Yeah.
So if somebody's got a holiday booked for next week and they leave this week, then that's removed from the system.
That's removed from the system. Biometric data is removed automatically straight away. But then the other sort of the person's personnel data, the attendance data, and the absence data will all stay until X amount of years down the line.
Right. Okay. So that is, and you implement that on all new systems.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And also I believe the lads
upgrade.
Yeah, I was going to move on to the upgrades, the SLA upgrades, Mike. I know you're not directly involved with these. You're mainly on the larger projects. But with your experience, does this something that's offered to the customers? It's a free.
Yeah, it's offered. It's offered part of the upgrade procedure, but it was more of a thing last year because it was 19 we introduced it. So on 20, that's when the lads were doing it mainly.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been introducing it, and then some companies actually have just called up support and asked for it to be turned on as well if it's not been on their system.
Okay. Maybe it's something I should mention in one of the magazines. Maybe I should make a point of just reminding people who might not be aware that we've got that. It's one of those things that we made a big point about at one point. But how long does it take to set this up there? Let's say if the new systems have it in a standard, if you're setting up a standard, let's say we've got a big upgrade.
Big upgrade can be a little bit more difficult because they may not have an employment record. That's the key. We need an employment record against it because that's the place where you put your leaving date.
Yeah, when we have these podcasts at the end, which I try to explain how we could implement whatever we talked about. So with something like this, if a customer heard about this GDPR, was interested in having us go in, I'm guessing one day of a job there'd be some preliminary work, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
Somebody arrive on site, set up a few things on the system. We might have to run a script to create some employment records for people. And it's something that we could do in one day with a bit of prep work and then leave something running. Something that's important is no records are removed automatically, are they? That I think, if I remember correctly.
No, that's why. I mean, it just gives a prompt on the to-do list. You click it and you say, yes, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then
nothing automatic.
No, the system maintenance runs the GDPR maintenance will run at sort of like 11:30 of the night.
Yeah, got it.
And then it will remove it. Yeah.
But it's fully audited. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, okay. That was worthwhile. If anybody's interested in finding out more about the GDPR feature within the timeware software, if you give support a call, so that's Charlotte, and her email address is support@timeware.co.uk, and she can organise somebody speaking to you. Telephone number, Mike?
+44 1706 658 222.
Well done. 50 podcasts in and you've got it right. Fantastic, guys. Dave, thank you for attending. Mike, we'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.